Hi, Henry with Sous Chef Depot here today. I'm just going to go over a quick video to show you where to get your work tables and equipment stands and which one's best for your food truck or trailer. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Is that 18 by 48 is by far the most common type of work table because you only want 18 inches depth because you're working such a small space. You can't have a full 24 or 30-inch depth table just due to lack of aisle space. Now, there's essentially three levels to this. So it's all the same type of stand. So you got 18 by 48, but this is a stainless steel top with galvanized undershelf, which means stainless, and this is a zinc coating on top of raw steel. The second level, which is more expensive, is where, in this case, it upgraded from 18 gauge to 16 gauge. That's not really a big deal because it only lets you handle like an extra 100 pounds on the shelf itself. But now it's a stainless steel top and a stainless steel bottom. Most counties and most states, including here in Florida, you don't need the stainless steel. It's just if you got more money to play with, stainless steel lasts longer and just looks prettier over a longer period of time. And then the third level, which in this case I was trying to find, it's really hard to find it for a consumer like you, because this video is designed for people who you're going to be building your own food truck on your own. Because what would happen is that for me, as I sell kitchen equipment and is that I would go directly to BK Resources, which is one of BK, Kason, uh, Advanced Tabco. I don't deal with Advanced Tabco, but I mainly just do BK. But you can't buy directly from them. There's no way you can do it unless you're buying $5,000 to $10,000 worth of tables and stuff per month anyway. Well, between everything, tables, faucets, plumbing, sinks. So if you're just a one-time buyer, you can't go directly through BK. You can call someone like me or just call anyone else that actually is a reseller for BK. But at that point, you're going to be paying at least 30-40% more than Webstron. Because Webstron is going to be your best value for one-time customers for the most part. Um, so you go to the third level, which I would obviously, if you get to this point, you'd also try to get one with a stainless steel undershelf because I don't think an extra 50 bucks is going to hurt you. But you have this 4-inch backsplash, which is really good for food trucks. Which is when you end up having your work tables installed in your food truck or trailer, is that you want to preferably put them all the way up against the wall so you have the most aisle space. Problem is that when you butt the work table right up against the wall, if you ever spill anything, it's going to get between that crevice. It's going to be very difficult to clean between the wall and the work table. Even if you leave a half-inch, 1-inch gap, that's still kind of annoying to clean out that little space. And then also it just prevents things like, say, if you have pens, papers, and stuff on the table at that time, is that if you have that any space there in the back, it can fall between the cracks and get stuck. So the backsplash on here is by far the best. Obviously, you have to make sure that you don't put your window too low and all your other equipment. And it's not really a big deal, just saying a little minor thing, because sometimes when you design trailers out, is that you would assume you have an extra inch or two, and then turns out your equipment, because you have a sandwich prep table or a refrigerator, it's exactly 48, exactly 29 inches. So when you're off by just 1 inch and you're really trying to stuff that trailer with the most amount of equipment, that 1 inch can literally will prevent your equipment from fitting. And same thing in total height, it's not as much of an issue as left to right for width. So if you're starting out, you're doing your first food truck or trailer, is that obviously every single dollar counts because you're going from 189 to 228, and this one's also 210. So what? It's a $20 difference, but every piece of equipment's another $20 here. So your refrigerator, it's a $100 difference. Each table is a $50 difference. You're probably going to have 3 to 4 tables in your food truck. And when I'm saying tables, is that you're going to have about 2 tables, and also you can probably have 1 or 2 equipment stands. So that's already between $100 and $200 right there, just for your tables, let alone your equipment. So you could, at the end of your build, you might be able to build your food truck $1 to $3 grand cheaper, depending on what you do. And that's just coming to equipment only. The most common and most expensive part is actually your trailer. If you're getting a brand new trailer, it might cost you somewhere between 5 and 7 grand. If you wait for a really good deal, and you can find a used trailer, maybe it might be 5, 6 years old, but you can get that same exact trailer with specs that's brand new and get it for maybe 2 or 3 grand, and bam, you're saving 2,000 bucks. So when it comes to equipment, for me personally, it's not a big deal having 20 bucks here, 40 bucks there. But for you, it may be the case where that will make or break your budget for that month. You're maxing out credit cards, you're taking out loans. Um, so to begin with, most places and jurisdictions you can get away with a galvanized shelf. There's honestly nothing wrong with the galvanized shelf. It's just going to start looking a little rusty towards 3, 5 years down the road. But functionally, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. So by far, this would be your cheapest. And then what I was saying is that with Worktables, that this is 18 by 48 because you need that aisle space. If you just swap over to a 24 by 48, you'll automatically go from 180 down to 120. Bigger thing is, I'm saying you're going to lose that aisle space. And then on a small caveat, just to let you know for information, Webstaurant is they're a $3 billion company. They have the Stilton brand and the Regency brand and the Advanco brand and the CPG Cost Cooking Performance Group brand. Just so for your understanding, is that they're all owned by this one company, and Webstaurant is actually owned by the major company called Clark & Sons, which is the original owners. Same thing for the restaurant store. The Webstaurant store and the restaurant store are owned by the same major company. It's just the restaurant store has physical locations, while Webstaurant is for the web. So when you're like, oh, should I go with the Regency or the Stilton? There is a difference in build. So you either have these rounded edges or you have these straight up and down edges. Honestly, these ones just look more professional. Functionally, it doesn't make too much of a difference, but it just feels right. But you can automatically go down to the Stiltons. Only problem is they only sell them by 24 by 48. They don't sell the 18-inch width version. Therefore, you're going to lose that 6 inches of aisle space. So sometimes that's necessary, especially for someone like you. You're probably going to go with a cheap trailer. So whether, let's say it's a 12-foot long trailer, is that most commonly you can easily save $1 to $2 grand by going with a 7-foot wide trailer or 8-foot wide. They don't do 7.5s, but 7-foot wide, you can easily save $1 grand or two. While the best types of trailers out in the industry are the 8.5-foot wide, which is actually the maximum legal limit for a width of a vehicle. But that just gives you so much more space and ability to fit something like this. So if you really need to be on the cheap, you're going to lose on aisle space, but bam, you can save another $60. Arguably, because I've had both of these, I actually actively have both of these tables here at my house, is that this one, the Regency is slightly sturdier, regardless of the 16 gauge, because my table is actually an 18 gauge one. Is that it's just slightly sturdier. Now, if you're not putting more than 200, 300 pounds on this stuff, there is no reason on why that extra sturdiness would actually inhibit your ability to work. It's just you can tell that you can definitely put on a little bit more weight, an extra 50, 100 pounds with no problem. So by far, the cheapest is going to be the Stilton, and then the next upgrade is going to be the one that I disappeared here, but the one with the galvanized version for 180. Then if your jurisdiction requires it, you go with the full stainless steel upper and lower for 228. And then also just, if in my personal opinion, for your first trailer, go with the galvanized because you need to save every dollar, even if you can't afford it, but you know this is maybe your first business or it's just a new type of business for you. So you don't know everything's going to happen 1-2 years down the road. And it's better to get equipment that's not the best of the best, but at least you keep, in this case, there's nothing that can go wrong with this stuff. It's just going to be a little bit uglier. But that extra $1,500 here can mean the difference between you going under as a business or being a successful business as you learn if you go through all the hoops and issues that occur over the years. So the second best is going to be this one, which is fine for stainless steel. And then I would say the third one would be this, guys, because when you have this little backsplash here, it just makes your life a little bit easier. It's only saving you a few minutes here and there, but when you're working throughout the whole year, that's an hour or two of your time that you can get back. And it's only an extra $10-20. And in this case, it's actually technically it's a little bit cheaper because this one comes with the galvanized undershelf. So it really just depends on your jurisdiction on whether you're okay with an undershelf being galvanized. But this would be the final design right here, but that would add an extra $100-200 to your trailer. And that's if you're just going with Regency. Once you switch over to the advanced Tabco brands and other ones, for you yourself, yes, you'll be actually paying a lot higher price in general for that kind of thing. Because like this is $219 for an 18 gauge with galvanized undershelf, while the Regency was only $190. Imagine if you go to a full stainless version. Now you're at, I believe this one says full stainless. Otherwise, I don't know what the heck changed between that one and the other one. I think they just used the wrong picture. But look, now it's up to $330, while the Regency one was $220. So when you're doing one-off stuff and you're not going, I don't go directly to Advanced Tabco, but just so you understand, when you become a distributor and you're ordering thousands of dollars every month in them, this price will actually be significantly lower. Um, Still not as cheap as Regency, honestly, just so you understand, is that they pretty much sell this. Um, well, no, they make money, but they don't make money in regard to regular customers. They make their money elsewhere. And then let's move over to equipment stands really quick. It's pretty simple for a food truck. Is that you're gonna have two versions on here. So you're either gonna have your Regency version or your Steelton version. Same thing with this stuff. There really isn't much of a difference. The Regency is gonna be a little bit stronger at 16 gauge versus 18 gauge. But this is where it's gonna help you a lot. Is that I would recommend, this is from experience in hearing people, is that you'd probably just want to go with the Steelton one. But you would not want to use the 60-inch or the 72-inch width because they still only have four legs. So once they become this wide, in a regular restaurant, it probably should work for several years. But when you're in a food truck or trailer and you got this stuff right here, if it's char boilers, it can be really light, 150 pounds. But if you put a 72-inch or 60-inch griddle on top of this, that's literally between 500 and 700 pounds up there. And you're just on four little legs, and the Steelton ones are not as sturdy as the Regency ones. So in a food truck or trailer, if you, my recommendation, if you use anything above 48 inches, and you got some heavy equipment like a griddle up there, then your stuff is going to fail within a year. You're taking a sharp turn with your trailer and just all that movement, it's going to break the under part of your equipment. It's going to fall apart. So for up to 48 inches is perfectly fine. What you can't end up doing is that you get a 48-inch and a 24-inch table to still make a 72, or some combination of that, which would be a lot better and still cheaper than going over here to the Regency one. Because let's just go down the example. So I want a 72-inch table here. So I want to make it out of a 48 for 150 plus a 24 for 110. So that's 260 total. Now, Regency, you can do the 60s and 72s because it's a 16 gauge top, so it's a lot sturdier overall. I would still try to push you towards doing the 48 kind of stuff with this, but without actually having to go test out myself, you could probably push the 60. 72 is still too high for me personally. But if it was 260 over here for getting a 24 and a 48, rather than getting one big solid table, and only issue you're going to have is going to have two extra legs. Actually no, 4 versus 8, so you actually have 4 extra legs, is that you went from 260 to 355. You're definitely not going to be able to afford the 320 unless you do the mix and match discount, just so you understand for mix and matches. So if you buy all your tables at once and your wall shelves, that will save you a lot of money. And that's actually the big thing about you guys, is that you're going to want, if you do end up doing this mix and match, you want to go with the Regency, the higher one, is that you want to get both your equipment stands, both your work tables, and then also your wall shelves at the same exact time. And then you'll get the mix and match discount, which brings us from $355 down to $320, which is more reasonable. Also try to get their free membership. It goes for a whole month. So if you just want to just instantly buy all your equipment really quick and just get the membership for a month, get free shipping on all of it. And then if you want to get their business, their Visa card, you can also do that for an extra 3%. And then also, if you do end up getting the Visa card, you actually get 50% off for their monthly fee. So instead of being $100 a month, you only pay $50 a month. That's up to you. After you buy your equipment, there isn't too much you'd probably want to buy from Webstaurant, unless you're located out in the middle of nowhere. Because in that case, you'd probably want to ship in all of your disposables and your containers and all that stuff. But when you're somewhere here like Orlando, Florida, like me, is that we have 2 restaurant depots in Orlando, Florida. We have a restaurant store and then 4 or 5 local stores that are equivalent of this kind of stuff. Even like a walk-in, I think it might be Cisco if I remember correctly, but they literally have a physical walk-in store here, so you can just go pick up all this kind of stuff. Or it was a different brand than Cisco. It's Cisco or someone similar to that. But here in Orlando, Florida, there's no issue. We don't have to. You honestly could buy all your equipment here in Orlando, Florida. You would pay a higher price because obviously you're getting it local rather than shipped. But it is a possibility here, at least. If you're in the middle of nowhere, then yes, this membership makes a lot more sense. Go ahead and get it. And then, yeah, so cheaper. You can obviously just use this indefinitely. If you want to have just one big ass table, then you would want to upgrade to the Regency for food trucks or trailers. Now, if you are doing the 6 foot and you're actually doing a brick and mortar, then you can actually go back to this. It shouldn't be an issue. I mean, you'll feel a little uneasy, but I don't expect it to break on you, at least anytime soon. Any questions, comments, concerns? You know what? I'm going to do this for y'all also, just because I mentioned wall shelf. Is that you're going to go right here, and these things are dirt cheap relatively. But you're going to want to get a wall shelf, because you're going to need these for your food truck or trailer. So you just get these bad boys, add them for the mix and match, and then get whatever size you want. This is honestly kind of the best price on the net. Even, yeah, honestly, I'm just going to tell you, even companies, unless you're getting bulk orders or ordering 50 or 100 wall shelves, most people would, everyone would just come here for this exact shelf. There's like no way to really beat this price unless you're getting directly from the manufacturer. And then what you're gonna want to do for a food truck or trailer, you've probably already seen this several times, is that you have this lip right here. So the better thing for a food truck or trailer is actually putting this, installing this shelf upside down. Obviously, it's only a 1 inch lip. It's not gonna make too much of a difference, but having that so your stuff doesn't fly out as easily is always helpful. Okay, that's actually it. So any questions, comments, concerns, you can email me at info@souschefdepot.com. And yeah, I don't build food trucks yet, but if you really want to buy a food truck, I can build one or outsource it to a local guy. I know a few companies here that build food trucks. If it's going to be through me directly, understand I am not going to be the cheapest price. I will build your food truck. I will build you the best food truck there's ever been, really. When it comes to specifications, making sure it works, you get your fire extinguishers, you get your paper towel holders, your equipment's going to be laid on the correct thing, and then actually just showing you, hey, which one works best for you? Are you really budget concerned, or do you want the best of the food trucks? Yeah, it'll be fun. And even if you don't end up buying through me, if you want to just give me a call so we can actually just talk about it, so I can actually just gauge the industry to see if it's reasonable for me to start building on my own. That is always a possibility, and then I can just honestly just give you any advice you need to know, or questions, or comments, concerns, regulation, understanding equipment. It's good stuff. Have a great day. Thank you.